22 to 1 third. Fulbright 9 to 4 favourite unplaced. Windhoek 360 places 130, 150 and 370. The exacta 1440. The winning distance 2 1/4 lengths. Number 5 Dubawi Sound was the non-runner, 9 ran. And there's the time for you once again, and it was 1:25.69, 3.09 seconds outside of the standard. We're off to Newmarket now for race 4 on their card, and race number 4 is the Piper Heinsick Rare Handicap. It's run over a mile and a quarter. Non-runners here, 8 position, 9 Diala and 12 Anjaz. Clayton, the lightly raced Clayton, is the 5 to 1 favourite. Prussian 6 to 1. Lady Lock 7s. Gabriel the Great 15 to 2. Blazing Speed at 8 to 1. Mr Music, who is Dave's selection here, at 10 to 1, together with Stature, and 12 to 1 bar those.
Clayton is the 5 to 1 favourite for what is a competitive handicap, despite the 3 non-runners, Position, Diala and Anjaz. We're left with a field of 12, and Clayton, the market leader, lightly raced from the Kevin Ryan stable in the famous pink, yellow and black silks of Guy Reed.
Absolutely, had some really good horses over the years. Yeah, it's interesting that he's favourite, because we haven't seen him for 4 months. There's no doubt when we saw him, he was improving with every start. Last time we saw him with a really good second at Musselburgh, over 2 furlong further than today.
Surprising, the drop in trip?
Well, I mean, he was always going well that race, but yeah, I suppose so. He certainly stayed a mile and a half very well. So it could have been, he's a horse who could have been anything in the market. He could have been weak, because the absence might have signified something, but he's been noticeably strong. So presumably he's considered fit and forward, but he needs to have continued his improvement, because he's up £7 for that last run.
Do you think last time out with Prussian, the second favourite at 6 to 1, was a case of the ground or the handicap mark?
Well, I think it probably eventually is going to catch up with you. I thought he ran well. It was typically game in heavy ground at Chester. I think he'll go in any ground, and I think from what we've seen at the time so far, the ground is is soft. It's not terrible. He's up another £2. Life will be getting increasingly slightly more difficult, but she's a very game filly.
If you can make excuses outside of the handicap mark for last time, though, you can make a case, could you not, that he potentially is still well handicapped, because when he has been winning or running well in defeat behind Labyrinto, he's been a bit unlucky in his runs.
Yeah, that's really solid form. Labyrinto race at Sandown was a really good race. He then didn't have the clearest of runs before winning next time out, and then last time out, as I say, I don't think you have to excuse it really. I just think it was another very good effort. It's probably preferable for her to have less soft ground than it was that day, so that might enable her to cope with the extra £2.
Down the bottom of the handicap is Lady Lock from the Richard Fahey stable. What do you make of her chances?
Well, another one, just like, there's several in this race, a career best effort last time out. Now, that was in the mud at Haydock, and she handled it very well. Up £4, better race today, but a horse who's clearly on the up. Weirdly, she might have preferred the ground even softer, but she is improving.
We just had a look at Gabriel the Great going down to the start. He's been well back today.
Yeah, he's a horse I liked most in the race, really. Best form we give in the ground, has looked, I thought, in a handicapper's grip, I guess, since winning at Haydock in July. But I just think he's down a couple of pounds from the last time he ran. He's slowly getting back to a winnable mark, and he's got conditions in his favour.
Blazing Speed is a horse we can have a look at in shot, making his way down to the start for James Fanshawe and Jim Crowley. Lightly raced, 3 career starts. He was 4th on his reappearance after a gelding operation on the July course.
Well, needs improvement. I mean, again, fascinating. He's only had 3 runs. That was a emphatic win of a Doncaster maiden last time we saw him in August. Just on what he achieved, 95's enough. So he needs to have, he needs to build on that.
Stature for Andrew Balding and Thomas Brown takes off a valuable £7. Good early season, patchy middle part.
Yeah, but last run probably as good as ever, when second at Yarmouth. He's a horse who didn't always look that straightforward, but wearing a hood has really helped him, and he's actually been pretty consistent on the whole. He's got a career high mark to defy today, though, because he's up a few pounds from from Yarmouth.
Your thoughts on Michael Murphy as a jockey? Because I know he's a jockey who's attracted a lot of attention and a name that many people are saying is a potential star.
Yeah, he's excellent. He's one of the. He's now a £5 claimer, but he's been one of the stars. Him and Darren Egan of the season. He really impressed at Goodwood when given a real chance by Alan Jarvis. He rode in a 2-year-old race and didn't. It wasn't like a handicap using his claim. And he's looked to have a very good nerve. He rides the sizes here, who again on the pick of his form you could give a chance to. He's been busy, but he's got several decent runs to his name. He's only beaten ahead at Glorious Goodwood, for example, and he's certainly competitively handicapped. I think this is a very open race. I really do. I'd make a case for the bottom, the rank outsider here, Unex Michelangelo, who hasn't had the season that many people predicted after last year, but I think he got outpaced over a mile last time out at Sandown. I think he'll return to this trip in ground that he handles. He's a 25 to 1 chance. I don't think he's out of it.
Interesting stuff. 25 to 1 about Unex Michelangelo for John Gosden and Michael Hills. John Gosden, of course, took our previous race with Guerrero in a thriller with Havana Gold. Really good race, that.
Really good race, and continuing. Well, not just having a good season. He's got a good season. We've talked about this before in all divisions. He's got promising 2-year-olds. He's got stayers. Excuse me, he's had horses running in all the classics. He's so strong in depth.
The one thing that I think has not caught people off guard but surprised many is the level of consistency over the length of time that it has happened.
Yeah, you probably need that to be champion trainer, which he's
1 to 3 with Paddy Power now.
He's entitled to be a warm favourite. It's because from the beginning to the end, as I say, I think he's had runners in virtually every classic, and other than a very good sprinter, can't think of a good sprinter he's got. Maybe I'm missing one. Other than that, he's got something in sort of virtually every division.
Moving back to runners in this race, number 6 is Rosslyn Castle, a gelded son of Selkirk. Blinkers called for, first time today.
Just after a slightly lacklustre run, I think I'd probably describe it as last time out on soft ground, which would have suited him. So that was at Goodwood. Presumably, Roger Shelton thought they were needed. I've always had a thing about Selkirks when they've got headgear on the first time. I think it can improve them, so I think it's a good move to try. A mile and a quarter, mile and a half, he seems equally effective on either, and I say he will definitely handle the conditions.
And Selkirk on soft ground as well.
Well, exactly. So I really do think this is a wide open race. We're being relatively positive about an awful lot of them.
The drifter, the big drifter, is Mr. Music, out to 16 to 1 from 10 to 1. He's at the top of the handicap along with Prussia with 9 stone 7. He's run consistently and run game races in defeat, but hasn't got his neck in front. No, and the last run was a rare bad run for him. He ran really well at Glorious Goodwood from a long way back, would nearly have won that day, and lots of other good pieces of form. I'm also not sure that the absolute pick of his form might be at a stiff mile. I mean, he gets a mile, of course, he's got plenty of form at it. I probably prefer him at a mile in a strongly run race. Is the trip a concern for Burke's Rock as well? Stepping up in trip?
Possibly. He's only tried the trip once before and he was beaten a very long way. So he certainly has got it to prove. Yeah, he ran so badly that day, it may not have been stamina. But it's a fact that they've kept him away from it since.
And finally, Tiger's Tail for Roger Teal and Andrea Rossini. The last one we need to mention, 16 to 1.
He's another one. I think a mile and a quarter is his limit, I think. He's 3 handicaps early in the year at 7 furlongs and a mile. He got the trip at Kempton last time out, but it wasn't a very strongly run race, and he still gave me the impression it was the absolute limit. So in what's likely to be more of a test, although having said all that, I'm not sure where the pace is going to come from. I mean, what's going to be more of a test because of the conditions, it might stretch him.
Open race, Clayton's 5 to 1. They go 5 to 1 the field, 6 to 1 about Prussian Lady Lock, 7 to 1 and Big the Rest. It's got the feel of one of those races, doesn't it? End of season handicap, 5 to 1 the field. You can make a case for plenty of these. Well,
you can. There's obviously horses who've got form in the book, and if they run to their best, they're clearly interesting. The market, as ever in these things, it's often the sort of the slightly sexier horses who attract the money. Clayton's sort of a bit of an unknown. Blazing Speed, although it's drifting now, is a bit of an unknown. So there you can see why they're popular. But there's solid form on offer from several of the runners here.
Tactics for this race, who's going to kick on?
Well, there you go. Tiger's Tail has in the past a bit, but over a mile and a quarter, not sure he will. Prussian can sort of chase leaders type. I didn't think it was obvious. In answer to that, I don't know who'll lead.
There's a case that Prussian might make the running.
Well, he's ridden just behind them, so I wouldn't be surprised. Rosslyn Castle's got form at a mile and a half. They might decide that it wouldn't be a bad thing to make plenty of use of that. Assizes can be ridden not that far away. There's several who are sort of chase leaders types. There's no obvious horse whose run style is to lead.
it might hinder the likes of Gabriel the Great, who seem to be at their best when they go a good gallop.
Yeah, I think he wants a test at this. I think he gets his trip thoroughly again, but there's nothing to stop them if they feel that they could. I mean, not every horse likes making the running, but he would certainly have no worries about the getting home over a mile and a quarter.
5-1 Clayton. Lady Lock now at 11-2, the daughter of Dutch Art. Prussian 6-1. Gabriel the Great is 7. Stature 9-1 along with the sizes. Blazing Speed 10-1. Mr Music and Berks Rock easy to back out to 16-1. But your comments about Who Next Michelangelo are interesting. May have just been found out for a bit of pace in the past.
Basically, it's only because of the price that attracts me, really. Basically, he's been a bit disappointing this year. He looked like he had some sort of promise towards the end of last season. It's not really worked out for him, but I didn't think he ran bad at Sandown. I do think a mile is on the sharp side, so a mile and a quarter, I think is in his favour. He's 25-1 because he hasn't been running to his best this year, but it's a big price on his best form.
We have talked about John Gosling. He's got a big day tomorrow with both Izzy Top and Great Heavens. Great Heavens in the Arc de Triomphe, supplemented for a high cost. It's actually now an attackable arc.
It is, and the conditions will suit her, and she was mighty impressive in Ireland. My one worry about her is that when she won in Ireland, there was a moment early in the straight where she looked in trouble, and then she really found her stride and won in the style of a stayer. I think she's reasonably drawn tomorrow, but if she gets in behind horses, I just wonder if she's going to, find the room, you know what I mean, to use her gallop. And she's added to the mix. I can see why they supplemented her, and she's a mightily progressive filly.
Do you have a strong fancy in the Arc tomorrow?
Sea Moon would be my slight fancy. I think the draw's not been wonderful, but I think he'll like the conditions, and I think he should nearly have won the King George, I think.
And it would be a dream comeback from injury for Ryan Moore, who rides Berks Rock in this race.
Yes, I suspect he's looking forward to the Sea Moon ride even more than Berks Rock.
You never know, though, with Ryan.
No.
5-1 Clayton, the market leader here. Let's head over and join Stuart Machin for the call.
Yeah, we've just run a little after time here, Ollie. But only 30 minutes after the previous race, this one time to go off, and the runners had to go all the way to the 10 furlong start. Stature and Clayton came out a little after the others, went down steadily. Building up quickly now, not too many more to go in. Clayton's just gone in, and the last couple going in. Berks Rock and Lady Lock into stall 10, the last. They're off, racing over a mile and a quarter this time. First time blinkers didn't really wake up Rosslyn Castle from the stalls. He was a bit sluggish. So they begin to drift away from the near side running rail out into the centre. Clayton in the noseband is taking them there from Tiger's Tail, the claret and blue, the grey sizes. Berks Rock, Ryan Moore with a white cap, and towards the near side Prussian, the green jacket. And then Blazing Speed, who settled some 3 or 4 lengths off the early gallop. Unex Michelangelo in a yellow jacket is in mid-division just ahead of the filly Lady Lock, the red silks. And then back to Stature with the noseband. Mr Music, Richard Hughes, yellow jacket. Rosslyn Castle last but one, and Gabriel the Great and the Grey and Beige Stars racing at the tail. So down the middle of the Roly Mile they come towards the end of the third furlong. Tiger's Tail in the centre, Clayton away to the left, and Prussian close up. The leading line of 3, tracked by Berks Rock as sizes, and the white-faced Blazing Speed. Lady Lock is already off the bridle, chased along in mid-division. Mr Music, yellow cap for Richard Hughes, travelling kindly alongside Unex Michelangelo. Then Rosslyn Castle, Stature away to the right, and finally Gabriel the Great. They're already beyond halfway, and the pace is quickening all the time. Tiger's Tail from Prussian, they're pressing on. Clayton has come under pressure and has relinquished a few positions, passed by both Blazing Speed and Berks Rock, who are closing down the leading pair. Several others are hard at work in behind, and this is going to develop into quite a test in the conditions. Inside the 3 and approaching the bushes, it's Prussian, the green jacket from Tiger's Tail. Blazing Speed, green cap, trying to get on terms. Then Berks Rock. Lady Lock has switched to the far side. Then Clayton, Unex Michelangelo, Stature, and a size is backing out of it. Prussian and Tiger's Tail with Blazing Speed on the near side, trying to get on terms. Out of the dip, they begin to climb for the last furlong. It's the game Prussian under Kieran Fallon in front. Blazing Speed and Jim Crowley, though, drawing alongside. These two are staying on to go clear inside the last furlong, and Blazing Speed is asserting from Prussian as they race close home, and Blazing Speed draws away to win from Prussian, Unex Michelangelo, Tiger's Tail, and Lady Lock.
The lightly raced and progressive Blazing Speed has got the better of the solid yardstick that is Prussian with the returning to form Unex Michelangelo staying on for third at a decent price, but Blazing Speed has eventually worn down Prussian. He's not an easy horse to pass, but he's passed him fairly easily in the end.
I thought it was just about the worst handicapped horse in the race, or what he'd done. Impressive though he was at Doncaster last time out. I think it was a stiff enough arse from Mark in the 90s, but not a bit of it. This is a much improved performance, and you've got the ultra-reliable, ultra-game Prussian to tell you that the form is reliable, because he just doesn't know how to run a bad race. He's run another superb race. But Blazing Speed has dealt with him really well, and it looks like taking after his sire Dylan Thomas and getting better and better. This is a good performance for a horse on his fourth ever run. Unex Michelangelo did improve back at a mile and a quarter, come under pressure a bit and stayed on, ran perfectly nicely. A couple of things to mention: Clayton pulled too hard early on, saw daylight and just wasn't, I don't think, able to give his best. Gabriel the Goat without the back early on never really got in contention. Mr. Music travelled all right for a long way, but probably the handicapper has him. Tiger's Tail ran well, but gave the impression that a mile and a quarter does stretch, I think, in these conditions. But in the end, it wasn't a badly run race, but Prussian's travelled really well, but the winner has travelled very well and has dealt with him in good fashion.
Clayton may not have given his